Okay, so this is section 5.3, part 2. All right, so we talked about independent events and we looked at finding some and probabilities by using the multiplication operation. Now we're going to look at finding and probabilities with contingency tables. And then we're also going to look at least probabilities. So a lot of your homework will be dealing with this at least one. And that's an important concept that we'll end up using over and over again. All right, so as far as a contingency table, there's two things I want to point out. First of all, and this is just the simpler contingency table with just the owning a dog, owning a cat for males and females. But if we wanted to know the probability in this case, and we have a contingency table, and I wanted to know what's the probability that someone is female and owns a dog. Well, in that case, I just need to look for that that cell, that number that fits both of those. So and means both. So female and a dog owner, that's going to be 9 out of 100. And then we're done. That's it. That's our answer. Other than perhaps changing it into a decimal, 0.09. However, if I wanted to know, and I'm selecting two people from this population, what's the probability that I get 2 dog owners? Well, assuming that we're putting these people back, we're just choosing them, because that otherwise it's section 5.4 and we haven't talked about what to do if it's independent or if it's dependent. So we're going to assume it's independent. So what's the probability that I have 2 dog owners? Well, dog owners, that's 51 out of 100 for the first one. And then if I can potentially select that same person again, then I would just say squared. And whatever that ends up being. So let's see. 51 out of 100 squared gives us about 26%. So 0.2601. And so we would just, it's the same idea. The contingency table part, the only thing for it is really kind of this idea of what if I have a row thing and a column thing. Now, obviously, I didn't think about this when I used this table earlier. Like, I am a female who has both dogs and cats. So somehow this table, maybe if it's a preference thing rather than an ownership thing, although I would have a hard time choosing. But for whatever reason, these are not repeated people, so you wouldn't be able to be counted in both. So now that I've kind of thought about that, this is probably not a great contingency table to work with. But we're going to assume that there's only one person. Whether you're male or female, you either have a dog or a cat, period. All right, and then last but not least, pun intended, usually I would ask for courtesy laughs, but since I can't hear you not laughing at me, then you don't have to worry about it. But our at least probabilities, so typically it's at least 1. And one thing that I usually like to say, and it's really bad grammar, but I like to say that at least 1 is not none. And I'm going to put none in quotation marks. Not means we're dealing with a complement. And then none means the probability of having 0. Of whatever it is. And so let's take a look. I've got our cards. So if you've been watching the videos, you've seen these cards already. So let's say that I want to know what's the probability. I'm going to draw 3 cards with replacement, since I am dealing with independent things. And I want to know what is the probability of getting at least 1 heart. Well, at least 1 is not none. So that means that complement rule, I want to do 1 minus for the complement rule of getting no hearts. Well, I'm going to have to use a little bit of complement rule repeatedly. So no hearts means that I don't get a heart. All 3 cards are not a heart. So probability of not a heart is going to be 1 minus the probability of it being a heart. Or I can just count. But I have 1, 2, 3 hearts out of 12 cards. So that means I have 9 cards that are not hearts. So whether I use the complement rule or, I mean, I guess technically either way, somehow I'm doing the complement because I am subtracting. Or I could have just counted all the other ones, so maybe not. But 9 out of 12. And I'm going to keep it a 9 out of 12, even though that would be a 1/4. And so no hearts, that means that I have 3 cards that are not heart. So probability of 3 not hearts. I need to know that. Well, that's going to be 9 to the 12th power cubed. Then I need to subtract from 1. So I'm going to have 1 minus 9 over 12 cubed. And let's see. I think that'll be 1 over 64. But let's see. 1 minus parenthesis 9 divided by 12. Again, if you want to change that to a 1/4, you are more than welcome to. The only reason I'm not is because it won't matter. Your calculator will take care of all that for you. Raised to the 3rd power. And no, that is not 1 over 64. Oh, I bet I need extra set of parentheses. Parenthesis, enter. Nope. Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing 1 minus 1/4 to the 3rd power. That's not correct. So, I don't know what this would be as a fraction. 0.58. Oop, nope. 0.578125. So that if we were using the TI 84s, we could do a math enter, and it would give us a fraction back. But if, like me, if you all are just using like your phone calculator or your computer calculator, then more likely than not, you're just going to have a decimal. And luckily, that's usually what the online homework wants. So we'd probably want it to 3 or 4 decimal places. We could round that, but that's the exact answer. So notice that we did the complement rule 2 different times. So we had to figure out, at least 1 heart. Well, that was going to be a complement rule here. But then no hearts, we had to do that again in order to get that number there. So these can sometimes have kind of like an extra step in there with the with that extra complement rule.